Good afternoon, everybody. Decided to do another video. Usually y'all see me doing like reviews on recipes or restaurants. But today I'm not gonna be doing anything like that. Some of you who know me know that I'm like a really strong advocate for health stuff, like with certain diseases that I have, and especially like with mental health. Being that my children, my two boys that I have, my youngest two boys, Zayden and Tyler, they've had a few mental health issues that we've been dealing with, and I've had to turn to mental health professionals with like psychiatry and getting them on medication for mental health issues. And that's something that I'm very vocal about. Like, I don't hide that fact, because I know that mental health is I wouldn't say a problem, I'd say a concern for many people, that a lot of people, they try to hide the fact that they are dealing with mental health issues, or they try not to talk about it. But the way I feel the opposite about that. I feel like we do need to talk about it. That's why I'm so vocal about so many issues that my family and I have faced or are facing now, because I want to help people, but on the other hand, I also want to make them aware that they are not alone. And recently, our family once again has faced tragedy in the with the passing of my oldest son, Carice. And I haven't really like vocally spoken about it. But today I'm gonna dab a little bit into that. And I'm gonna talk a little bit about grief, because today makes 3 weeks that he's been gone. And I've just been doing some thinking, and then I just wanted to share a little bit of that, of what I've been thinking. Sorry, I'm in this car. Had to get away for a little bit from my house, because my kids, the noise and all that. And it's I don't know if you can see, like, it's snowing today here in Cleveland. And the great thing about snow is that if you ever have the chance to go outside when it's snowing, what snow does is that it absorbs a lot of sound, meaning it's very quiet when it snows, and that gives me some peace, that gives me some clarity to think. Lately, this past year, it seems that grief has entered my life on more than one occasion. Last year, I lost my spouse. He passed away to COVID. In November, I lost my sister-in-law, and then 3 weeks ago, I lost my son. So grief has entered my life a few times this past year, and it's a different type of grief this time. When my spouse passed away, it was hard, because we shared almost 20 years together. But this time, the grief is different, in a way that this time I lost my son, who I physically brought into this world, whose DNA was half mine's. So in a sense, a part of me left this earth 3 weeks ago. And when you think about it, what I think about it, it's different, because that is your child, you know. It's different when a spouse passes away. Travis was 41 when he passed. My sister-in-law, she was the same age, 41. And my son, he was just 22. So all very young. And I've shared a few of my thoughts with my mom, because my mom, as some of you know, I was young when I had Kyrese. I was how old was I? I was 19 when I got pregnant, Kyrese, and then I had him when I was 20. So I was young. I was not married. I was single, and I tried to raise him, to work and do all of that, but I was just having a hard time. So my parents were the ones to help me raise him. My parents stepped in, and they raised him from the time he was, I believe, 9 months. So they played a huge part in his life. And so I shared a few thoughts with my mom while I was in Hawaii last week about grief. And one of my biggest things is to be grateful in the time of grief. I always say that grief and gratitude can coexist, or does coexist. To always be grateful in the time of grief. And those who really know me know that I'm a stickler for writing. I still use pen and paper, even though I'm very tech savvy, but I still like to write stuff down. So this morning, as I was thinking, I just took a few notes about what I was thinking about. And now, this is not medical advice. This is not, psychiatry, psychology, whatever you want to say. I'm not a trained psychologist. This is my degree is in business, so this is just my thoughts. This is my experience, what has really helped me in this past year, because I know at this time there are so many people who are dealing with the same issues that I'm dealing with, and this is just my thoughts and what has helped me, because it may help some of you. But grief is a very it's incredibly individual. When I say it's incredibly individual, it means that you grieve on your own time. Nobody can tell you how to grieve, when to grieve, how long to grieve, or what to grieve about. You grieve in your own time. I know with me, it took some time for me to say I'm okay, or I'm fine. And there are days when you're not gonna be okay. Grief does come in waves, like I've talked to some of you about. Grief comes in waves, meaning, one moment I could be fine, I could be laughing, I could be okay, and then just in an instant, like that grief comes over me like a wave, and you just break down. And that happens, and that will happen. And it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to grieve during those times, or cry, or scream, whatever you have to do. But like I told my mom, it's okay to grieve, but don't stay there too long. What I mean by that is, grief has no time limit. You're always going to feel that loss, but don't feel that loss to the point where it makes you sick. It's important to remember self-care is necessary, meaning that you have to take care of yourself. You cannot stay in that depression, that sadness too long, because it'll make you physically sick. You have to take care of yourself. Make sure you're doing what's right for you, for your body, for you. But don't stay in grief, meaning don't stay depressed too long. I know you hear stories about people who are so depressed about the loss that they physically make themselves sick. No, we don't want that, because you matter. You matter in this world. So take care of yourself also. And another point that I wanted to make, that we always hear people tell us, time heals all wounds, that it'll just take time. But what I figure out is that time does not heal all wounds. You'll always feel the loss. So in this instance, time does not matter. Time does not heal all wounds. But on the other hand, you still have to keep on living. You still have people in this world that need you, and you need them. So the way I like to think about it is that our loved ones, they're still around. I've shared with my mom that even though Kyrese is no longer in this life, in this world, he's still around. And we can always sense that, I've said many times that the line between this life and the next is always blurred, meaning our loved ones can still see us, they feel us, they know that we're there, they can still come into our world, even though we can't see them. We can always sense them when they're around. And I think that's the great comfort in knowing that they're here, that they're around, that we can sense when they're around. And my daughter, Lahela, sometimes she cries because she misses her dad. And I always tell her, Lahela, you know what, daddy can always see you, and you can always talk to daddy. When you miss daddy, you can just say, I love you, daddy, and he'll hear you. So once in a while, she'll just talk, and she says, hi, daddy, I love you. Or and it's amazing to have that knowledge, that our loved ones are always around us. I've shared before that we often think that heaven is some far off place that is in the clouds somewhere. But in the actuality, heaven is right here. Heaven is in our space. It just operates on a different frequency. So always remember that our loved ones are always here, and that they're still present in our life. They can still see us. They can still we can still talk to them. If you ever feel like talking to somebody that has passed on, talk. That I do it all the time. I know I may look crazy to some people around here, but I just talk, and I know they can hear me. So one final thought before I end this video is a quote that I've come to love. It says, big achievements come one small advantage at a time, one step at a time, and one day at a time. So as you live your life, it takes one day at a time, and you'll never be 100% okay, but just as long as you're okay. Bye.